one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it, because you can.
This story comes to us from the Associated Press, where the family of a man killed by a police dog in Montgomery, Alabama, has agreed to settle its federal lawsuit against the police officer who handled the animal, but their lawyers said this last Friday that they plan to appeal a ruling that cleared the city of responsibility. A confidential settlement was reached in July 2019. That lawsuit against Montgomery officer Nicholas Barber, who was responsible for the canine that attacked and killed then 50-year-old Joseph Pettaway in 2018. Pettaway was sleeping in a small house where he was employed as a handyman when officers responded to a call that reported an unknown occupant, according to court documents. Now, almost immediately after the officers arrived, Barber released the dog into the house where it found Pettaway and bit into his groin. That bite severed Pettaway's femoral artery, autopsy reports showed. Officers took Pettaway outside where he bled out while waiting for paramedics, according to the family's lawsuit. Quote, "I hope that the case for the family brings some closure for something that is a long time coming," said their attorney Griffin Sykes. Now, the Associated Press investigated and documented thousands of cases across the United States where police tactics considered non-lethal have resulted in fatalities. The nationwide database includes Pettaway's case. The lawsuit also named the city of Montgomery and its police chief at the time, Ernest Finley, alleging that the officers had been trained not to provide first aid. Believable. Quote, "The Supreme Court has decided that cities and counties are responsible for administering medical care when they arrest somebody," said Sykes. He said, "We think they failed to do that in this case, and it is not a failure of the individual officers, but a failure of the city that says you're not to provide medical care." Now, the claims against the city and the police chief were dismissed, but Sykes said the Pettaway family plans on appealing that. Attorneys for Barber, Finley, and the city of Montgomery, Alabama, did not respond to an email request for comments sent by Associated Press last Friday morning. They're not going to respond. Give it up. Body camera recordings showing what happened have never been made public. Interesting. It took years of litigating for the Pettaway family and their lawyers to see this video footage. The judge sided with the city, which said revealing them could create potential for protests, which could endanger the safety of law enforcement officers, the public, and private property, said U.S. Magistrate Judge Jerusha T. Adams. Suggested that the family was attempting to try this case in the informal court of public opinion rather than in the courtroom. But we know that if an officer was the one who got killed, you'd release that body cam footage the next day, or at least within 3 days. You know that. But when somebody dies at the hands of the police officers, oh, well, that's the guy. We can't release the footage just yet. It might cause a protest, or it might, we got to look at all the video footage. But when a police officer gets injured or killed, that video footage is released that week. Interesting how that works, huh? It is interesting how that works.